Welcome to each of you, and we're going to just get started. I want to respect your time on a Sunday morning for some of you and Sunday afternoon and evening for the rest. I'm going to share my screen and just talk through the trip that I have organized and show you why this is such an important place that if not now, at some point, just you'll want to work your way into Visoko, the little village where most of this will take place. So I'm going to share my screen. Hope I did it right. Oh, hold on. Interesting. It said something it didn't say a minute ago.
Yes.
Hold on. Oh, here we go.
Interesting.
There we go. Okay. Do you see the picture that I've been using on the front of my site? Embark. Yeah. I love this picture. I had another one and then I found this one on Dr. Sam's site and I used it. So I asked permission, but I didn't hear back, but I did it anyway. So I feel like this is a journey, a self-discovery journey and adventure. I love the word adventure. And I think that so far, everyone that's really shown an interest in this trip and the ladies that have already committed and paid in full it's all women, which I suspect this will be an all-women trip. My last tour that I did was in Peru. I took a group of ladies, it was all women, and a 15-year-old, one of the daughters of one of the beautiful ladies brought her teenager. And that was fabulous. But I had planned a trip to Bosnia in June of 2020. And as we all know, the world shut down. So that trip got delayed. And so this is what it is. I'm finally doing it. I have been wanting to take a group of people to Bosnia since 2012 when I first went. And it's just taken it's a bit too organized. And I do apologize in advance for the late notice. I have been working on this since January. It was all organized. Everything was together. And I was in Peru for several months. Then I was at my granddaughter's month-long celebration in Dallas. Then I had a trip to Mexico that I had earned from a company I work with. And then I'm now in the south of France. So it's been a very busy year. And finally, my belief is that when the call is put out, those who are supposed to be involved will listen and will join us. So we'll have the most amazing group of probably all women there. Sheila, Glenda, and Peggy, I can only see a few of you, are already joining us. So they've got their flights booked and they're all in, so to speak. So I've told them, and any of you, at the end of this, please ask questions. I'm just going to not zip through, but I'm going to go through this. You can see in the center, I hope you all saw this. This is the largest pyramid on planet Earth. And if you Google, are the Bosnian pyramids real? You're going to get, no, they're all fake, they're all natural, all kinds of disparaging words that is part of why it's such a magical place to go visit, because for some reason, there is a group of very powerful people who don't want the history of this place known. And Dr. Sam, who is, I'll mention him in a minute, but Dr. Sam's work on the planet has been to announce this and share it. And I use the word expose it. And pretty much any of us who go, I've gone and volunteered twice. I've lived there twice for 3 months each over my last 6 visits. And we become ambassadors for this country. And I won't say it needs us as ambassadors, but the people in the country really welcome that. And they are beautiful, just amazing culturally. And I think we realize that whatever this cover-up is all about is something that is very powerful, and it's kind of nice to understand what's going on behind the scenes. And I'm not going to go into all that right now. I'm just going to start sharing some of this. So the trip is from June 12th until the 23rd. I did mention earlier, there are several that are going already, and there's at least a 4th person who plans to stay longer. And if you want to plan an extra couple of days on the end of it, there's plenty to do after what I'm going to show you. And one of the things that I'm planning, and I haven't made any, I've just been busy trying to get this announced, I have a friend there that's Muslim, and she had me over for lunch with a lot of her ladies, her lady friends at one of their homes, and it was just a beautiful experience. So I'm going to organize that probably, and just see if we can't join them again in a. And just, I just think that's a good way to experience the culture inside their homes, and you will just fall in love with these people when you get to know them one on one. It's a 12-day, 11-night magical adventure. And I love these words put together. It's a unique cultural, agricultural, or archaeological, spiritual, and gastro tour. So it kind of touches all the senses of those of us who love to travel. And we're going to start the tour in Old Town Sarajevo. It was originally, when I was presented the program by the team, is what I'm calling the Milan team in Bosnia. They suggested we start in Visoko, which is the little village where most of this will take place, in staying in a monastery, because the hotel is a little hard to get into. It's a small hotel. It's fabulous, you'll see. And I decided, let's just all meet in Sarajevo for the night. Old Sarajevo is beautiful. We'll have a nice welcome dinner there on the 12th. And then we'll start out on the morning of the 13th, and we'll head out into the country. So you'll see, we're going to see quite a bit. One of the things that I'm very, I don't know if proud's the right word, but I'm very excited to say, all of these rooms, everyone will have a single private room. I've never been on a tour. I've done a lot of tours over my 67 years, and never has that been part of the program. What was that? Oh,
Oh, are we on mute?
no, you're not on mute. I can't. Yeah, not yet.
Sheila was
I'll
saying
mute
mute us. Yeah, mute us.
Okay. Oh, can you do it? I can't.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay, yeah.
thank you.
I
So,
was gastro tour. Okay.
so the reason I did that, I want to be all transparent, is Bosnia does not have a lot of rooms with double bed or twin beds. The hotel, this beautiful hotel we're staying in, I think has 3 rooms with twin beds. So that means that if you did sign up to be to come and want a single, not have a single, if you wanted to do the normal, which is have a double room with someone you know or don't know, I've done it both ways, you would be sharing a double bed or a queen size bed with someone you possibly don't know. And as most of us as Americans, certainly, we don't like that idea. We kind of like our own bed. So I decided it was significantly more expensive to add in the private rooms for everyone, but I just did it from the front end. So I've had one lady request to see, just to get the cost down a little, if she could share a room with someone. And she's adorable. I've stayed in her home. I met her in Bosnia in 2014, I think, and she wants to go back and see it the way we're going to see it. So if anyone's interested in getting the expense down a little bit, that's one way. Let me know. So we're going to go to Medjugorje, and people say that differently, but it's a magical place where Mother Mary appeared. Mostar, I'll show you a picture as we get to it. One of the most beautiful, beautiful places I've ever been, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's a UNESCO site. And then we're going to one of the features is we're going to go to the service that it's called, I can't say these words, I'm not even going to try, but it's a Sufi dervish shrine, and it guards the largest fresh water in all of Europe, the source of water. And when I went with Dr. Sam the first time, I've been several times, he literally, there's a spoon that's in the water that he knew where it was, and I'm sure I could find it, that you go and you get on this platform and you dip the spoon into the water and just drink it, because it's so fresh out of the mountains. And it supposedly takes 50 years for water to naturally cleanse itself through the earth, and it does it through the mountains. So I think this is part of why a lot of this is not being shared with the world. It's a very large source of water. The crevice, whatever, waterfalls, I have not been to. That's the only thing on this trip I haven't done. So they're beautiful. Darsan is one of my favorite magical sites on the planet. And I'll talk to you about that. I'll show you a picture of it. But the last time I was there, I sat on one of the stones, and you can sit on them. There's no guards there. You drive probably 3 miles on a very desolate area, and there's fig trees and plum trees. You could just stop and help yourself, and apricot trees, and I think apple, and which is kind of cool. And I was with a gentleman. We were heading to I can't think of the name right now, to do another part of Bosnia. And then I was going on to Medjugorje, to the country south of, my mind has just been off lately. Anyway, we stopped at Darsan. He had not been there before. And you're able to just sit on these stones. And I actually sat there and had a little meditation. And I had a distinct vision of blue goddesses. And it was Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, Kuan Yin, and Saint Rita. And Saint Rita's someone I know from one of the spiritual saints from, obviously, I know from Brazil. So that was very, very special. And we'll all get to do that and just have some private time up there. Then after we've had 3 days out with these exploring the countryside, so to speak, it's a small country, then we're going to come back to Visoko, the little village, and we're going to join Dr. Sam's tour. But I've added an extra day in there, and we're just going to have a day kind of off, although we'll be doing the joy codes. And my dream is to do it down in the Rodney Park, which is a beautiful, beautiful place. And as we're down there, just go through the Joy Codes program. And it's my coaching program that it's kind of got a fun story behind it that I won't go into right now, but it's all about body, mind, spirit, heart, and community. So it's a place you'll learn how to manifest a little bit stronger and be able to absorb the energy. And it's a perfect combination to do the Joy Codes in this beautiful energy. So from there, I wanted to share this part. When we're with Dr. Sam, there's an energy beam that's been detected. And if you Google the words Bosnian pyramid, are they real or anything, some of the photos you'll see have a beam coming out from the top of this Pyramid of the Sun. Pyramid of the Sun is the largest pyramid on planet Earth. And that beam isn't actually visible, but I happened to be there one year, I think it was 2014, when one of the scientists was measuring it. And the most fascinating, I think it's 9 meters wide, which is about 90 feet. I get it so mixed up. 9 times 9, 18 feet wide. And it's all of the pyramids on the planet have a flat surface, which is very interesting. We all think that Egypt is pointed at the top, and it's not, and neither is the Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia. And so this gentleman measured this top with this beam with some equipment he had, and the energy got stronger. You would think it was getting stronger as it absorbed into the pyramid. It got stronger as it went out, which is counterintuitive to me. It's like, what's that all about? So there's all kinds of things, and Dr. Sam will talk all about that. This beam has been very interesting. It is very interesting. And so when you see that depiction of it, that's not really, you can't see it, you just can feel it. There's scalar waves. You'll be in the energy of 28 gigahertz frequency, which is very cool, kilohertz. And they consider it a perpetual motion machine. Dr. Sam calls it the largest energy generator on planet Earth, which is pretty cool, where science meets spirituality. So we're in the right place, right, ladies? I can't see who else is on the call right now. So there was only one gentleman who might have been joining us. We're going to do the joy codes. And as I mentioned, that's all about body, mind, spirit, heart, and community. We're going to master soul guidance. I've already taught that to some of you here. And that's basically kinesiology when we muscle test. And it's something that I will let you all practice it the whole time we're there, to just so that you really understand the depth of it. I use it every day in my daily life, and I have for about 20 years. And it's why I can travel the planet full time, the last 10 years, plus prior to that, a whole lot of travel, and not be concerned. I know how to ask the right questions and make sure that everything's perfect. I'm on the right flights, and I'm staying in the right places, and I'm going at the right times. And do I go left or right? I've been driving all over the world. I drive. And a lot of time, in fact, I think Nancy's on here. Nancy Addison's done some of these excursions where we just rented a car in South Africa and Brazil and just drove all around. In Mexico, kind of in areas where most women don't do that by themselves. And anyway, do you go left or right? I just ask my higher self. I ask through soul guidance. So we'll work on that. And you'll really learn to master it. There'll be energy healing done. There's a lot of, we'll talk about discover, work with your passions if you haven't done that before. So joy codes are amazing. And that's kind of my signature program. The tour, I mentioned some of these places we're going to go. I don't need, this is the stones at Darsan. And there's some that are down and we can actually sit on them. But look at them. This, what I find fascinating is I've spent months and months and months, years in Peru. I lived there a year and a half during the COVID days. And I just got back from 2 months and I was there 3 months last year. But these, they call these Inca stones, where they're carved or formed. I believe they're formed. They're concrete, most of them, but they're not regular stones like we build today. They're not regular bricks. They're all put together in a way that they survive earthquakes and all types of very unique things. Look at this one up here, how that's put in. You can't, these are very, very, very old. Bosnian pyramids are proven to be at least 26,000 years old. So this wall is, I believe, in that same age range, maybe older. So the way they did construction is very interesting. But this is where, when they say these are Inca, I get a bit annoyed, and that's a whole nother subject I'm not going to go into today. But the Inca were here 500 years ago, and there's no way the Inca created that whole concept, because these stones we know are much older than that. So I find it fascinating that these are, there's these stones here. I found them in Montenegro. That's the country I was going to for 3 months when I said I was heading south with my gentleman friend. And in Cambodia, I've seen these stones. I've seen them in Borneo as well as Thailand. They're all over the world. So we'll talk a lot about history and some of those things, just my fascination with it. This is Dr. Sam, sweet Dr. Sam. And he is just a delight. Sheila, you got the opportunity to meet him, you said a while back. And that's why you were very interested in going on this tour, because he's amazing. And very fun man, he has really gone out of his way to expose a lot of things to the planet. But Dr. Sam will be guiding the last part, the bigger part of our trip. And let's see, this is just a picture of Old Town Sarajevo, where I said we'll have a welcome dinner. And there's a restaurant there called To Be or Not to Be that I ate in back in 2012, the first time I was there. And every time I'm in Bosnia, if I get to Sarajevo, I go eat there. So we'll probably have either at some point we'll have a meal there, because it's kind of a fun little restaurant. This is the largest source of fresh water in all of Europe. And this is the Sufi house right here. And I think it's 400 or 500 years old. And right down on this platform, can you see my arrow? Good. On this platform is where Dr. Sam went and pulled this little cup. It was like a scoop, and we just scooped and drank water straight out of the source, which is something, I don't know about y'all, but I rarely drink straight out of a river. It just doesn't feel good. But this is just like the water under the Bosnian pyramids, in the Blue Lake, is safe to drink, which is wonderful. This is just a gorgeous place. This picture doesn't do it justice, but we will have lunch, a beautiful trout or vegetarian lunch right in this area. There's a lot of restaurants right over here that overlook this gorgeous site. And it's just really fun to go and sit there and enjoy the view and the water and all of it. This is where I said I haven't been yet, Kravici, something like that. Beautiful waterfalls. They're near Stolek, and Stolek has these very odd white, I don't know if they're concrete, but these white things that look like sarcophagus or tombstones, but there's hundreds of them and nobody knows exactly what they're for. So we're going to go and see those. It's just, they have depictions on them. There's etchings. They're very interesting. Let's see, the next day we will head back towards Visoko. Oh, I didn't mention Medjugorje. We'll go on the first day, all of this is pretty close. It's within 30 minutes of each other, pretty much. So that's really lovely. We'll stay in a hotel between Medjugorje, kind of in this area near Medjugorje. And it's a 4-star. I'm going to preface that Bosnia I've never stayed in what I considered a really nice hotel in Bosnia. It's just not a country that has a lot of tourists in it. And I stayed in one of the nicest hotels in Sarajevo the first time I went, and it was fine. It was, but it was not what you'd think of as a 4 or 5 star. So I'm going to set the precipice for that now. Other than when we're in Visoko, the biggest part of this trip, we are in a brand new 4-star hotel, and I think it will exceed our expectations. But the other places, I'm not going to say we're going to be in the most fabulous, certainly not going to be a Ritz-Carlton or even probably be a moderate Marriott, but they'll be clean and nice. So I'm just giving you a little warning beforehand on that. all of this. Medjugorje is I've been there several times. I've hiked the hill once. First time I went, we didn't have time to do that. And it's just very interesting. It's the energy, just, I'm not going to say too much, but I think many of you have heard of Medjugorje. I've done Fatima as well as Lourdes, been to Lourdes several times, and those are similar places where Mother Mary appeared. I do think in some respects the Catholic Church has really pushed the limits on some of this and made it tourist attraction. So I'll warn you in advance. And where we're going to go, there won't be tourists there. You'll see. Not if we hike up the hill. If you don't want to hike it, you don't have to. This is, I mentioned the Stolak, these things. We'll be staying in that area. It's just beautiful. We'll head back to Visoko, and this old town. We'll have lunch there and check into our spa hotel, which I have not been to. It's brand new, just opened this year. You can see it's gorgeous, very modern. They do like to put their names on the towels. That's kind of common around there, but there's a pool, so bring your bathing suits. There's a spa, full spa. I'm not going to say I haven't had massages in Visoko, so we'll have to just see how good they are, but that's something you're certainly welcome to do. The rooms look lovely. This is something that I want to encourage everyone to do with me. I was in the Bravny Park, which we'll spend a lot of time in this park. It's just beautiful. It's very large. And I was volunteering, and had been working on a spiral herb garden. And I actually put my feet in the water just to take a break. And that's a blue dragonfly. And dozens of blue dragonflies were not dozens, many different blue dragonflies were landing on my toes, off and on for about an hour, hour and a half. And I just think it was just so magical to have that kind of connection with the earth. So I would encourage everyone to consider doing this. We'll have a welcome dinner. So we have our day off when we'll do the joy codes, have some time in the park. It's just lovely. And then that night we'll meet for our welcome dinner with Dr. Sam. And I have no idea, they aren't sure how many people will be there. They told me that for our group, there's plenty of rooms right now. I'm thinking, I don't think I said this before, I'm thinking our group's only going to be 10 or 12 ladies. Pretty small, that's what I'm feeling. But there is room for up to 20. So I'll mention that. I'm feeling it's going to be in the 10 to 12 group numbers, which I'm thrilled with. I just don't want to turn anyone away. Dr. Sam will be taking over. He'll be guiding the rest of this somewhat. And we'll have some things to do in between, but when he talks, we want to listen. So that's from the 16th to the 23rd. And everything's pretty much included. I mentioned that before, but he'll show us all these things that he is passionately in love with, and you will be too once you've been there. There's 2 nights of the solstice celebration, and that's really fun. It's like a big party outside. There's music and all different kinds of things. Every year it's different. And I've been there. The first year I went, I met Dr. Sam in 2012 in May, and it was a little later than this, but about this time of year. And 3 weeks later, he was guiding a trip for the solstice, which is around the 20th of June. So I guess I'm in the very end of May. And I went. I thought I've got to go. Every part of me wanted to go to be there. And it was the solstice celebration. And we had crystal bowls up on top of the largest pyramid on the planet, on this top of the sun, which was very special. Anyway, I'm going to repeat that all rooms are single. And at the spa hotel, the Hotel Vima will be lovely. The itinerary for the rest of this, I'll just go through quickly because I just noticed it's half after. Dr. Sam loves to start everybody out at Belvedere Point, and he will start us out there. And let's say there's 50 people. The most I've done with him was 20 before, but I'm sure there'll be more now because he's gotten very popular. But let's say there's 50 or 75 people. We'll start at Belvedere Point. Great place to get photos with Dr. Sam and our group and each other. And my favorite photo of being there was when I'm standing with Dr. Sam and you can see the pyramid behind us. It's massive. So, and it's across the village. So we'll do that. And he just loved to talk about it's where he saw these for the first time, at least the Pyramid of the Sun. We'll go to the museum. I volunteered in the museum, and it's got some really cool, fascinating things that are certainly not natural, as they try to say. We'll go to the labyrinth underneath. I spent one summer, 3 months, almost daily, walking up the hills to the top where the Romney Park is. It's a nice little walk. It's about a mile, mostly uphill, but not high, not steep. And spent an hour or two every day deep inside of the tunnels, because that's where you can connect to the heartbeat of Mother Earth. Literally, and I would go into these deep chambers and turn the lights out and be by myself with my crystals or stones or whatever I brought. And I did take a blanket, a lightweight blanket, because it does get chilly in there. So you'll want to bring, and you'll have a list of all this, but you'll want to bring a sweater and some long pants for the days we go into the tunnels, because it can get chilly. But you literally hear just a little bit of water dripping, because there's moisture in there. And then you just feel the heartbeat of Mother Earth. It's just the most magical place. There's no radiation. There's cell phones don't work. There's no bad stuff. And if you look up the word Bovis, Bovis, a good Bovis scale for humans is 10,000. Some of the chambers in this tunnel system are 40 and 60,000 Bovis, which is off the charts. It's why people can go into these tunnels with having asthma or some other conditions and come out and these conditions are gone. It's crazy, but a lot of us on this call use the patches, and we know the healing power of stem cells and natural healing, so to speak. And a lot of that is concentrated in Visoko, in this system, this complex. It's one of the reasons I travel sacred sites pretty much constantly, because I find them very much in the youthing category. From there, the next day with Dr. Sam, we will spend time on the Pyramid of the Sun, where he will show us the discovery, like where they've actually exposed areas of it. And he sent this structure, these stones from it, to different labs around the world, and they all said, this is concrete. Where did it come from? It's the hardest, oldest concrete we've ever seen. Concrete gets harder as it gets older. So that's fascinating. There's formed of concrete. So he'll talk about that. The Pyramid of the Moon is very, very cool. It has terraces. They call them sondas, which is some kind of landing, but he'll talk about those. We have the time we're with Dr. Sam for our lunches, they'll all be organic. I can't promise that the rest of the trip, because it's a little more complicated, but he has those contacts. We'll visit the Green Crystal Pyramid, and then go into the underground system. And you wear a hard hat, which is kind of cool. I volunteered there twice, and I was wearing my hard hat and running around with a wheelbarrow, taking stones that they're trying to clear out of the tunnels to make way towards to open up the labyrinth under the ground that's been covered in. We will have a day where we go to Sarajevo, just spend the day there, and then come back to Ravni. So basically it's the morning and lunch in Sarajevo. So you do get an extra little time in Sarajevo. Then this is the pyramid of this is Vratnica. This is the a tumulus. And if any of you have been to England and gone to Avebury and seen Silbury Hill, it's very similar to Silbury Hill. This is not in as good a shape as Silbury Hill, because Silbury Hill is still covered with grass. And if you Google the word Silbury Hill, you might find it fascinating. But this has been exposed, this was not done by Dr. Sam, it was already this way. But this shows some of the concrete blocks down here, and they're laid out in a beautiful pattern, you'll see. We can walk on these and sit on these, and then we'll go up to the very top and usually do a meditation up there. Yeah, meditation up there. And then have lunch afterwards and go back down to the tunnels. Just some pictures. This is Ona. She's in the park. There's a lot of feminine energy in this area, which is wonderful. There's labyrinths. There's all kinds of things in the park. This is just a view of beautiful countryside. This is a different labyrinth there. Then one day we will go, and I'm not going to try to say the words because I always mess it up. We're going to go to the stone balls, and these are very famous. There are stone balls that have been found. They're perfectly round. They've been found in Costa Rica and different parts of the world. I saw one in Mexico in a museum that they're just kind of scattered. So I'm always on the lookout for these things. And this happens to be a massive one that Dr. Sam is standing with. But we'll go down, and this is probably the furthest walk down. It's down in a ravine, and it's just slow walk, and they're good steps. They're concrete steps, and they're not like Inca steps or whatever in Peru where they're very uneven. These are most of the steps, Samir's made sure we have good, I call him Samir, Dr. Sam. It may take a little while, but we can get down there and then walk around. And most of you'll get to sit, well, you probably will all get to sit on some of these stones if you want to. The energy is amazing. Then we'll have a beautiful lunch down there that the locals make and bring it down. So we'll have a picnic lunch down there with beautiful organic food. I only used this photo because it was so appropriate. I took this in Visoko. And I think of it as a big dove, kind of the reverse, but think of peace. And we're going to do a meditation for peace when we're down in Ravni near the park. We'll have our auras measured, and then the solstice celebration starts that night, which will be is down in the park. I missed this one. We have 2 solstice celebrations. So, and then the next we leave. This is one of the roads up on the top of the pyramid complex, so to speak. And there are all the roads going through vortexes and just beautiful windy roads. The countryside in Bosnia is gorgeous. So I just thought I would share that as our departure picture. So some of the details. Everything's pretty much included. I know just from my own experience when I go on tours, I hate to be nickeled and dimed the whole time. So I just went on and just put it all together. And I think you'll find the price is extremely reasonable for what you're getting. Our rooms are private in 4-star hotels. It includes all the guides, all the tickets to everything, all breakfast, most of the lunches, most of the dinners, all the presentations, all the tours, all the tips, which except for if you do something on your own, of course, and then the Joy Code experience. So it's pretty inclusive. It doesn't include your flights to and from Sarajevo, and I do highly recommend you fly into Sarajevo, not Zagreb. I've done that before and rented a car and driven down to Visoko, and it was fabulous, but I don't recommend you do it your first time. Meals not mentioned, and I did that on purpose. I know when I'm traveling, I love just to have a few days where I can go have something simple and on the, maybe not eat lunch or whatever. So most of the 7 dinners and 6 lunches are included. So this just gives you a few days just to do what you want. And for those who pay in full, you'll see at the end, I'm doing a private lunch dinner for those who pay in full by May 11th. So that's kind of something special. I'm not going to cover alcohol. Probably at the welcome dinner I will, but not across the country I won't, and the other things. Spa treatments are not covered, other than the ones that you'll experience up on the hill, up in Ravni. And then if you choose to get travel insurance. I'm told to tell you to get travel insurance. I personally don't do it anymore. I travel constantly, and it just hasn't really worked out for me. So that's totally at your own. Use your own wisdom and guidance and muscle test. Use your kinesiology skills to decide if that's something you need. The price is $3,888, and that's an intentional number for any of you who know me or work with numbers. The deposit's $1,555 due before May 11th. That holds your space, and it's non-refundable. And then that's applied towards the total price, leaving $2,333 payable by May 31st. If you pay the full $3,888 by May 11th is when you get some extra bonuses. So those I'll mention in a minute. But these links, I'm going to ask you a favor. If you're interested and you're going to pay in full, please talk to me and don't do the PayPal link. I've got a big mix up with PayPal right now, and they're holding I've had a huge deposit. I've had, people coming on the trip that have paid in full, and they're only giving me $9,000 this month and $9,000 next month. So that won't cover the expenses. So if we can do this another way, I will do a bonus to, I've kind of got an idea what the bonus will be, but if you can do Zelle and just send the cash or Venmo, that would really help, so I can have that money loosened up to be able to use for all these expenses, because I owe the team on the ground. I did leave my Zelle and Venmo. The bonuses, if you pay in full by May 11th, you get a special package before we leave, which includes either energy healing that'll work with pain and mobility issues. I've been doing energy work for almost 20 years. It can address financial concerns or different major shifts that you're looking for in your life, and they're very powerful. 24-hour blessing, I'll just say briefly, it's something I learned about in Brazil, and I've done many, many of them. And they are where you make a commitment to spend 24 hours without the phones, without any electronics. You actually will find, we'll start it at a certain time. It's based on your schedule. And usually in the morning after you've gotten up, showered, and had breakfast. And most people who do them fall asleep, and they sleep all day. And they wake up and have a piece of fruit, something light, then they go back to sleep and sleep the rest of the day. And then they wake up and have a light dinner, and then they go back to sleep and sleep all night. After I've done 22 of these myself, and I don't sleep in the daytime except when I'm in this state. And I can't explain exactly how it works, but it's a very intense prayer that I've learned to do when I was in Brazil. So any of you paying in full by May 11th will get that. And the hardest thing will be to find 24 hours that you can go without your phone or talking to people. So you'll see, but it's so powerful. My mom, I have a video on YouTube that my mom did years ago. She's not 100 now, and she's healthy, and it's amazing what's happened with her. But she had carpal tunnel surgery 30 years ago, probably. And this finger was always down. After that surgery, she couldn't move that finger down. And it's common when people have surgeries that they have other things come up. After her 24-hour, not only did she quit drinking vodka, which was crazy because my mom always drank a lot of vodka. She drank it the first day. I told her she had to go 24 hours without it, and she was able to do. And then I told her the next day, if you can't go without it, but she didn't feel good when she drank it. So she went without it and she talks about it in the video for, I don't remember how long, it was a long time. And this finger within 24 hours popped back up. And she saw a vision of a man that's actually a doctor out of Brazil, that he's on the other side. And she described him to me, and I had my brother show her a photo. She doesn't use electronic stuff like that, the smartphone. And she said it was the man she saw, the doctor in Brazil who I had a photo of. And he always made me think of my father. My father was a hand surgeon. So it was like that energy of this doctor came through and worked with my mom. It was it's hard to describe, but I've had many miracles from those 24-hour blessings. So that's all included if you pay him to full by next week, by the 11th. But please talk to me about the Zelle or the Venmo thing, so I don't have any problems when we get to Bosnia. You'll also have a private dinner with me when you've paid the 3,888. We'll do that in Bosnia. So, and that extra package is worth $1,000. It's all in English. The guides will all be speaking perfect English. That's really important to me, and I made sure of all that. Here's my email, Adele Good, if you want to reach out to me. Here's the information that I just went over about the payment stuff. As I said, these go to PayPal, and I'd really appreciate it if we didn't do that. So, or figured out a different way. So, Susan Schmidt joined us. Hi, Susan. I don't know who iPhone is. Does anyone have any questions? You can unmute if you'd like. I know I talked about a lot of stuff. Let me make sure I covered. If any of you, I've had a few friends say that financially they can't do this right now. And I totally understand, because I have, those of you who know me well know my finances do this. And right now, with the energy on the planet the way it is, we are manifesting very, very fast. And so it's very important to keep our energy up and our thoughts positive. And if money's a concern, let's talk about it, because I can probably help you within a week to get that kind of behind you. It's fascinating what's been happening. So just keep that in mind. Just message me about that. So any questions? Whether it'll be lovely. If we have a rainy day, I'll be surprised. But it's usually very nice. It can get very warm, so you'll want to take things for that. And as I said, you'll want to have a sweater for the tunnels. Anybody questions? Comments?
We're excited. I'm so excited to go. I was checking on adapters, electrical adapters, and it said that Bosnia uses type F. So if anybody needs to know that, because I was looking at some on Amazon that were different types. And
I mean-
I like the fact that you mentioned we could get one with an extension cord that has room for USB ports on it. Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds
let me
good.
show you what I travel with, because this really has, and if you can get a lightweight version of this, hold on.
Yes, that's what I saw.
Yeah, and it's like $12 on Amazon,
Mhm.
but there's a better thing that I'm using here in France. I have beautiful friends that are putting me up in one of their houses down in the coast in the south of France. And they showed me, they had this. Well, it goes into the European, and I don't know. Oh, this is an F. That's what I thought. I thought it was the same as here. Does that look right, Sheila?
Yes, well, it had 3 different adapters that I saw.
Okay, well, some of them have a third pole
Right.
thingy, but usually most of them have 2. So what I'm doing now is I'm sticking this in the wall. There's my USB. And then I'm putting my adapter that fits into this with my Mac into that. So I'm getting my phone and my computer all in one. And the dryer, the hotel will have hair dryers. I really don't think anybody needs to bring a hair dryer. I'll have one with me if we need it in the little hotels. But I think everyone we're staying with, they'll have a hair dryer. I know they will at the Vima. So mainly the things you would need, I use a real camera, so I have to charge my phone, my camera batteries, but I'll use the USB for that. So this is so lightweight. I'm thinking of getting one of these because my other one's kind of heavy. And this works with a lot of international, it's all over Europe. So do you Allegra, do you remember? Is this what it is?
It's all across Europe. So in Croatia we have that. So I wouldn't get anything complicated. Just get a small adapter for an American to a European, and you'll be fine.
That's a good.
I'm going to join you, but you have put together a beautiful trip, and a couple of things came to mind because I've been to quite a few of those places. I think the healing energy underneath in the tunnels is quite extraordinary. I drum, and so I've drummed on the top, which has been very special as well. And one time I went with a friend and we toned deep into the tunnels. So to tone and to drum is very special. And the other thing is that Bosnian is very similar to Croatian. They used to call it Serbo-Croat, but you had a dragonfly, right? And a dragonfly in Croatian is a vilin konjac, which means a fairy's horse. So when you see a dragonfly, you must visualize the little fairy sitting on its horse.
Oh, I love that. And the dragonfly flies backwards and forwards and upwards. And it's mad. They really are phenomenal. And they're all over, as you saw. I mean, and they're blue. They're just, and I think they have gold ones too, but the blue ones were all over the park. That's beautiful. Thank you. Anything else that you would add to the whole experience?
Bosnia is beautiful, right? I mean, it's still got the scars from the war, and you need to know that. The scars are physical, you will see that. Sarajevo is quite extraordinary. I would do a little bit of research and read up about, because, to be in somewhere, there's a museum in Sarajevo about the siege of Sarajevo, and it's heartrending, particularly there's a lot of the stories of women. And as you know, the women are the casualties of war. But don't get hung up with, oh, it's a war zone. No, it's not at all, right? But it's a magic place. It's so beautiful and so green. If you think about, I mean, they call Slovenia the green country, but actually Slovenia is nowhere near as green as Bosnia. Bosnia is the green is green. People are beautiful. The food will be amazing. You say that Dr. Sam will have it. I met him in South Africa at the Umuntu Festival. So
I know Michael Tellinger. I've been to Ubuntu. I've lived in South Africa.
The Umuntu Festival.
No, no, no. I stayed at Ubuntu with Michael Tellinger at his
I
place.
went to the Umuntu Festival
Oh.
and did a workshop with the Khoisan. It was very magic, and he was talking there, and I'd met him. Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about going, I'd say for goodness sake, pay your money and go. I would also say, give yourself a day. I'm like you, a great traveler, and I need my sleep. And I did study tours for a long time, and I had a lot of international projects. And if I would say to guests who are coming over transatlantic, give yourself a day, you know, it your body goes from, it misses a day and you go backwards and forwards, and you'll get more out of it if you give yourself a day. I mean, you can give yourself a day in Paris or Frankfurt or wherever, and then get. And yeah, I wouldn't drive from Zagreb. It's a long drive from Zagreb. But you could certainly have a day wherever your transatlantic flight takes you to, which is probably going to be Frankfurt or Madrid or somewhere like that. Have a nice day there, get rid of the jet lag, and then pop over to Sarajevo, because yeah, the distances aren't that far.
That's a great tip. I used to stay in Vienna. That was my stopover.
That would be a really good one. I love Vienna. I love
and I have
Vienna.
a beautiful hotel I can recommend in Vienna.
But that would be my strong recommendation, is just don't pitch up in Sarajevo and be jet lagged, and then you would miss out on some aspects of it. A bit
That's
of
a good
zombie.
point. The ladies that have already booked get in at noon, so that helps that it's not coming in late in the day. But that is a good point, though, to come that extra day. And I know one of the hi Linda, I didn't see we're on there. Well, I've already talked to one of the ladies about coming over early, and then, as I mentioned, staying a couple of days later, just because there's so much to do. I've lived there 3 months at a time, and I still haven't done everything. Not that I did stuff every day, but it's a very beautiful small country full of lots of special things. So
yeah.
Thank you.
So green, since it's so green, does it rain every day?
No. I mean, I'm in the north of Croatia, but Bosnia is further south. It rains at night.
Oh, okay.
I can only think of a few days where in 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, we do get, particularly in the July and August, you get the build up. It gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and you have these fantastic storms where you have lots of thunder and lightning, and then they go, you know. So, but you should be fine for the weather. But it's warm.
When you say warm, what is warm to you guys?
Not Texas warm, don't worry.
Oh,
So
good.
are you thinking 80? 80?
What's 25? 90, 30.
No, it's under 25's under 90, because I looked it up yesterday. 29 is 80 something.
Okay, so it's at more 80-ish, 60
Yeah.
to 80. Okay.
Let me look at 25, and I will be putting together a document with all this. 25 is 77 degrees. For those of us from Texas, that's cold.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm thinking, okay, how many clothes do I want to bring?
Long and short sleeves.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you always want to have at least a sweater, of course, and long pants, but I generally am wearing sleeveless or a shirt over the sleeveless, with shorts, you know,
Really?
you know, well, I'm thinking when I'm working in the tunnels, you wouldn't want to walk around in shorts, I mean, you certainly could. But yeah, warm. Wouldn't you say, Allegra, pretty warm? I mean, it's.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from England, so this is beautifully warm to me. The only other thing is I'd say is all the packing I do is I start with my shoes.
Yeah, what kind? Will tennis shoes be?
Comfortable shoes, you know, and maybe a pair of, I mean, I wear sandals, but I will also always put a pair of socks in, because, you know, you can get blisters, and a pair of socks will stop that. So I keep a pair of socks in my handbag if I'm wearing sandals, and if I haven't worn them for a long time. you know, so start with your shoes. Make
Oh,
sure
great
what
advice.
you take
And
is
in the
comfortable.
tunnels, you'll want to put socks on. When I sit in there for,
Yeah.
you know, I always put my socks on, and I would wear sneakers. I brought a pair of Merrill, they're hiking boot sneakers things that I'll be wearing.
Merrill sandals and Merrill.
Got rid of my hiking boots.
Yeah, just something comfortable. Don't break them in on the tour. Although we really aren't going to be walking a whole lot. I mean, it's not like you're going to walk 4 miles a day. It just isn't that type of group. We usually can park pretty close, and then you may walk a block or two. If you want to walk up to the tunnels, to the Ravni Park, which I love to do, that's like a mile. If you want to walk from the tunnels to the pyramid, that's probably 2 or 3 miles, but it's all flat grade and it's stunningly beautiful. And that would be something to do on the other end. I don't know that we'll have a chance to do that when we're there with the group, but there's so many things like that you can do. One of my favorites, and Allegra, you might know it, the restaurant is Number One. Have you ever been in
What,
Visoko?
say that?
Number One, the
The-
restaurant Number One in
I
Visoko.
haven't. I've seen it, but I haven't been.
And
But-
yeah, we walk there usually. I mean, you can take a taxi, but it's not very far. And it's just what was that?
And eat chivapi, because that's the Bosnian takeaway is the sausages. They're not vegetarian, but that's what they all eat. And the fish is good.
And the
fresh fish.
And I eat, one of my favorite things to eat there that I didn't mention it today is the borak, and I'm not saying it right. Borak.
Yeah,
It's
borak.
not soup. It's where they take spinach and a cheese, and it's not feta cheese, but it seems like a Greek dish, but it's Bosnian. And they mix all this spinach and this cheese, and then they roll it in a puff pastry, like a thin pastry, roll it, and then they put it into a circle, like a spiral, and they bake it, and they sometimes put milk on it, or you can get little ones. Like when I didn't plan some of the lunches, I thought, y'all are just gonna want to go get a spinach fork because there's more. They are so good. And it's like they're fast food. And so you walk around with this thing like a sandwich, but it's not. Or you don't walk around, but I mean, you can have it as a quick lunch, and they are delicious. Think of the best spinaka, I think that's how you say it in Greece, that kind of thing, wrapped up in a little hand pastry. I mean, they're fabulous. So I eat those a lot when I'm there.
Sounds
Borak,
delicious.
the spinach burek, the cheese burek, and or the meat burek.
Yes, yes.
Cheese especially is sir, S-I-R. So if you and spinati. So
Thank you for that reminder. Yeah,
So,
and
Adele,
oh, yes.
oh, go ahead, and go ahead.
I was just gonna say, language-wise,
Yes.
enough people in Bosnia speak English that you'll be able to communicate. And if you can't, I speak one language, and that's English. And I've lived around the world, all over on 5 continents. And I've lived where people don't speak English. And here in France, I'm in a tiny little village by the sea that they don't have any. I'm probably the only American in the whole village, but there's people from England, and the ones who don't speak French or who don't speak English, I don't have any trouble. I learn hello. It's very important to say bonjour here to everybody. And then when I need to count money, if it's some odd change, I just grab my handful of change out and let them pull it out. And we all laugh because it works. And you'll find in Bosnia, it's very easy. Like I said, I've lived there twice for 3 months each. I'm pretty immersed in the culture and never had any trouble. Even asking directions, believe it or not, you can figure all that out. So don't think you need to know any other than please and thank you and maybe how much. Those are the words that get me through pretty much every country.
no, I'm just going to say dober dan. Dober dan is good day, right? And if you go into a shop, people will say dober dan, so you say dober dan. Hi is bok, which comes from the word for God, bog. So people more informally than dober dan will say bok, 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 which actually means like may God be with you, which is nice. So remember bok, but dober dan you get away with, and thank you is hvala, which is a bit complicated because Hvala. Vala. And then
What's that?
that's thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you so much. I've forgotten all that. I haven't been back since 18.
Molim. Molim is please.
What is
which
it?
comes from the word to pray. Molim. M-O-L-I-M. Molim. But Dobadan, if you say Dobadan, they'll say, oh, Dobadan, Dobadan.
When
and
they
then
were
more informally, bok bok.
Bok. Bok. You say it together, bok bok?
Well,
Yeah,
you usually
one.
bok one, and then you can, if you say, and you also can say ciao, which is easy, the Italian ciao.
The universal, yes. Thank you so much. I'll put all that in a document. I'll look up the right spelling and so you've got that. So yeah, and I find personally the communication when you don't speak the language is really joyful because you just make it work. You laugh, you smile, you do your fan language and just it's very childish and creative and playful. So even if you don't, if you're in a position with a shopkeeper and they don't have any idea what you're saying when you say, how much is this, whatever, this little heart, they just use fingers or take the money out of your hand. If I've never had any trouble trusting someone to do that. So, it's fun. And this is a beautiful, beautiful culture. And thank you, Allegra, for saying that the bulk means God, may God be with you. And the please is about prayer. I mean, that says a lot about their culture. Very spiritual. And we'll talk about all that when we're there, because there's a mixture of Christian and then Muslims. And it's a very interesting, I'll tell you my version when we're there. We'll talk about it. But and the churches, I always have us go into churches because you find all kinds of beautiful, beautiful things, especially there with the Orthodox Christianity. I think that's what they call it, right, Allegra? Isn't it Orthodox?
And we would need a scarf to cover our head.
Oh,
in
good
there.
point. Allegra, do they need a scarf? I mentioned that, like a light.
If you're in Orthodox church, you don't have to, but it's more courtesy to wear a scarf. And if you're going into a mosque, you definitely need to. I have a very nice pink scarf I bought in Bosnia, in Sarajevo, because I was there and I didn't have one with me. So as a headscarf, it's courtesy.
And I love that idea.
You're a visitor coming to, and yeah, I have stories about inappropriate visitors, but it's courtesy,
And I have some pictures of myself the day I went to lunch with the ladies that invited me. I wore a scarf and there was something so reverent about it. I've done it, anytime I go into a mosque in Turkey or wherever, but it's not expected during the day when you walk around. It's just an honoring respect. But I love the idea of buying one in Sarajevo. Perfect little take home thing to have. Were there plenty of them? Did you find, I don't remember.
If you go to Sarajevo, there's a beautiful little market, right? And the other thing is that the Bosnians are very proud of their coffee. It's like Turkish coffee. And they always say in Bosnia that the oldest person in the house should make the coffee because they'll make it extra slowly. And they make the coffee in the little pots. I don't know what they're called. So it's like Turkish coffee, and there are beautiful little cafes in Sarajevo where you can eat a Turkish delight, only you don't call it Turkish, you call it Bosnian delight, and you call it Bosnian coffee because it's Bosnian coffee. But there's a lovely walkway with lots of little shops, and it's like a little bazaar, and you can get all sorts of souvenirs. And as I'm in my house here, and I could go and find this pink scarf, and so every time I wear it after that I go, oh, this is my Sarajevo scarf. So
Perfect thing to buy there, because you want to have a few things that you can buy that you can use. So that's a perfect item. And I love that little area, the little market, and I love to go and sit and have coffee and just people watch. It's amazing. So we'll be in Sarajevo enough that first day. There's beautiful the Jewish section, old Jewish section in Sarajevo was very special. And oh, you'll see. There's lots of surprises coming.
Yeah.
So
I love Sarajevo.
it's lovely that we get to go back the second time for just a free kind of, so that if you can fly in early, and I know one lady's probably coming in an extra day early, just to kind of acclimate and because it's fun, as well, think about that. And I know those of you that have already gotten me, that are committed with your flights, you're coming in at noon, so at least you have the rest of the day. So don't, we can talk about you changing that a day earlier if you choose. Any questions from anyone else? Does everyone want to join us?
Adele,
Yes.
this is Glenda. So if we wear sneakers most of the time, that would be perfectly fine to go where we need to go. We don't need hiking boots or anything.
No.
So
you didn't need
sneakers and a
hiking
pair of
boots.
sandals.
No.
Okay.
I bought the hiking boots for something else, and that's what
Okay.
I'm going to wear. You do not need hiking boots. Sneakers are fine. As I said, it really won't be. None of the things we're doing are very far. They might be up and down hills, or not even, well, yeah, they could be, but there's usually stairs with handles, not always, but usually. And you won't be in a rush. So, don't be too concerned, but yeah, you don't bring hiking boots, so to speak.
Okay.
Mine are kind of a sneaker boot combo. So
I just want to be comfortable and not get blisters. So, okay.
absolutely. And I have some moleskin with me. So if you, I found it from when I was here before. It was in my stuff, so I'll bring that. But I don't think you'll have any trouble. We really won't be walking a tremendous amount.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Anything else you could think of?
You did mention that it might be better to bring our credit cards and get cash at the ATMs than going to a currency exchange.
Yes, I do. That is exactly right. That's just my experience, that you get a much better rate, especially if you've got an ATM card that doesn't charge you international fees. So you want to check with your bank. Mine don't. One of them does and the others don't. So I just have to, you kind of want to be aware of that.
Yes.
And Annette just got off. I met Annette in Bosnia years ago, and we've become good friends. I've actually stayed at her house in South Texas, which is just last year. But we met on we were volunteering together. It's a very special place. I did look into us volunteering while y'all are there, because that used to be part of you could do a one-day volunteer situation, which was really fun, but it's changed, and it's a week commitment to do that. So unless you want to stay an extra week, they made it a little more complicated, not the foundation, not Dr. Sam's group, but the government. So, but if you're interested in that, it's amazing. Allegra, did you volunteer? Have you done that?
I haven't. While you were talking, yeah. I mean, for me, I'm about 4 hours drive away, 5 hours drive away. So I have chosen to go there a few times, but I have thought about volunteering.
It's amazing. I've got friends that I actually met. I volunteered twice off and on during this, when I lived there for 3 months. And we all got to be such good friends that when I went to France, there were people in Belgium and France that I had met there, and they all said, come stay with me. And so we all traveled together in Belgium. I stayed with 3 different people I had met in Visoko, and then in France, about 6 of us all got together and stayed at one of the guys' family's house. He was young, still lived with his parents, and now he's married with a baby on the way, which is fun. But he's French, but the connections are just lovely. So something to keep in mind if you have that calling to stay longer. I can help you with that, which you'd need to go through to be a volunteer. And I don't know, I've done it so many times. I don't know if I have, I guess I'm probably not grandfathered in, but there is a process now, and you have to do it for a full week. So it's not like it used to be when you could do, I had looked into the last time in 2020, we were going to do it for the day. It was part of the tour. Anyway, any questions? No, any more? No? Nope. Okay. Well, oh my goodness, it's been over an hour. I didn't plan to keep us this long. So thank you so much. Let me know if you have you know, things come up and you're thinking, what about this? What about that? Or I want to do it and I'm not sure I can make this work. So let's brainstorm and figure some things out. Because we all know once we make those commitments, the magic just starts to happen. And we don't know how it happens, but if it's supposed to happen, it does. And it all comes together. So thank you
This
so
is amazing, Adele. It really was. I'm about to have knee surgery, so I'm not coming, but I have some people that do travel a lot like you do, and I'm going to share this with them so that they can, in case it'll fit in with their schedule this quick. So
thank you,
thank you.
Rosemary.
Yeah.
And you would be fun because, but yeah, you've got to have your knee surgery. So I've already had a fair number of people ask me about doing this next year when they could plan longer. So we'll see how it goes. The only time to be in Bosnia, as far as I'm concerned, Allegra, you're braver than me because of the cold winters, is between June, July, and August. I've been there in May, I've been there in September, but May's fine. It's June, the June is really a perfect month. And the solstice is a magical time anyway. So it's just the perfect time. So I won't ever be taking a group in October or February. It won't happen. So I'm kind of committed to the June. And then the special things that happen with Dr. Sam. He does a once a year tour now. So we're getting in on it. So that's a blessing that we're part of it. Because he only does it once now. He used to do several. And anyway, he's kind of streamlined that. So, well, thank you for joining us. Nancy just recommended something. I don't have my, oh, there's a lot of chats. I'm sorry, I missed it. Yeah, Nancy.
Does Dr. Sam just do his tours in certain areas or what? It sounds like you had met him on another tour at some point.
I met him in Dallas in 2012 when he was talking about the Bosnian pyramids and the whole complex, and he was doing a tour in Bosnia. Then I joined him. I happened to be in Thailand when he was doing a tour in Cambodia and the Philippines. This was in 2017, I think, and I joined him. I was able to last minute just jump aboard, and to me a lot of these last minute things are the most magical because they haven't spent a year planning it. It just happens. And so he speaks all over the world. He's speaking in London yesterday. Today he's speaking in London. So he does a lot of talking, and he used to guide more, but now most of his, as far as I know, most of his actual, he doesn't spend the time doing tours like he used to. It's more in Bosnia. That's his work on the planet, is to expose these pyramids that he's had a lot of people trying to say aren't pyramids, aren't they're just natural hills, which is crazy. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know of any others. As I said, I've joined in on the one in Philippines, Cambodia. I did, and he'll go to South Africa. I don't know that he did, whoever mentioned South Africa, I don't think he did a tour there.
He spoke at the Umuntu Festival, but I think that's just because he knew Michael Tallinger. There were some really cool speakers at that festival.
Yeah, that's more what he does now. He flies in and speaks, but he doesn't really show those areas. His background is in Mayan structures, Mayan history. That's what he taught that in college years ago and has written many books. Any of his books are great. My favorite is The Pyramids. Oh, it's got a blue cover, Pyramids Around the World. I think if you can get a copy of that, you would really appreciate what we're getting ready to go do, those of us going.
So you keep saying Dr. Sam, how would we look up the book? I mean, his full name, or how, you're not telling us his whole name.
Oh, well, let me spell it. It's Osmanagich, Osmanagich. Right, Allegra? I'm pretty sure that.
It's a difficult one to pronounce.
What?
It's a difficult one to pronounce.
I say Osmanagich, and that's close enough, he tells me. He's adorable. He's just as beautiful. Oh, he's so sweet. His wife's darling. They're a very interesting couple together. She's very modern and hip, and it's very fun to feel part of that world. So, okay, let's see who else. I've gotten some private messages. Let me make sure. Safe travels. Timing doesn't work. Okay, thank you. Oh, thanks, Nancy. Highly recommend traveling with Adele. Thank you. It's fun. So, all right, ladies, let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything I can do to support you in this whole endeavor. Isabel will speak tomorrow on we're doing this French adventure starting in a few weeks. And anyway, so I guess that's it. Thank you. Have a lovely rest of your Sunday.
Thank you,
Especially-
Adele. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.